What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching. In the mountains today. This was like a last minute bonsai trip to the mountains. I was gonna go fishing today, and then as I was getting ready to go fishing, just before I was getting ready to go fishing, I heard some thunder. I didn't see any lightning because it was light out, but I heard thunder multiple times. And the wind, it's windy right now. The wind at my house was just ripping as well, and I was like, man, I don't want to deal with thunder and lightning and wind on the water. So I was like, you know what? Just go up to the woods. Go up to the woods and see if you can find some deer and elk and scout for season. Maybe a bear. You know, hunting season, bear season is about 2 months out, month and a half away, something like that. It's about a month and a half out for bears. And then deer and elk follow that right behind. I figured come out and see if I can't find some animals. I already saw one deer actually in this clearing. This first spot I pulled up to, I already found one deer. Looked over the edge and she spooked and jumped up and ran off, but stopped on the hill about 200 yards out, and I was able to get a little bit of video of her. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. Just gonna scout, hopefully find more animals. My main objective today is to find a bunch of deer, just because last year when I hunted this unit, I didn't do too well on deer. I didn't have a lot of time. It was my first year hunting it last year. Just didn't have a lot of time to scout the unit before season, so a lot of my scouting was done during season, which is something you never want to do. I didn't have great success finding a lot of deer. Found some areas I feel hold deer, and I just want to confirm it this year and going in earlier and checking those areas out and confirming that those areas I think hold deer do actually have deer. So that's the objective today, is go around here, scour these mountains and look for deer. And honestly, we've already found one, so that's good. And then last time when we set up the trail cam a week ago, we saw 8 deer that day. So that makes me feel, I'm feeling better already. Confidence is a little bit higher already this year than it was last year. And speaking of the trail cam, we're not going to check it today because it's only been 1 week since we've set it up. So I want to give it a minimum of 2 weeks, and probably 3 or 4 would be the best. So we're not going to check the trail cam this week. We're going to let it soak a little bit longer, but probably next week we'll come up and check it and see what's on the trail cam. But for today, we're just going to look around and see how many deer we can find. And if we find elk and bear and stuff like that, that's a bonus. But really, number one goal today is to find some deer. But before we get to looking for these animals, guys, I want to share with you the verse of the day. All right, so today's verse comes from Romans chapter 5, verse 8. It says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." I love you, Lord. Thank you for that. I'll read this one more time for you guys. This is Romans chapter 5, verse 8. It says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us with this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." God, you're so good, Lord. Thank you for loving us and dying for us so that we could know you forever and that we could be with you forever in heaven. God, I just pray, Lord, that you would bless my day today, that you would keep me safe out here, that you would watch over me. Just bless the time I get to spend out here in the woods. I thank you for that. I pray, God, for anyone who doesn't know you, Lord, I just pray that they would come to know you, Lord, so they can spend eternity with you as well, Lord. And anyone who already knows you, Lord, they just come to know you better. I love you and thank you for everything you've given me, everything you've done in my life, Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Let's see if we can't find some more animals. Got like 8 elk, I think it was. I don't remember. 6 or 8 or 9, I don't know. Looked like there's about like 3 or 4 baby calves. Drove around to a spot. This is a section I haven't been to. It was like a road that they cut in last year that I never went down last year, and I decided to come into it. And the hillside that the elk are on is over here. I know where that is, but last year where I'm standing was timber, so you couldn't see across. Well, now you can see across. So that's kind of cool. They're like 600 yards out. Just when I first saw them, they were bedded. As soon as I got out of the truck, they stood up, and I mean, we're 600 yards away, and the wind is blowing in my face like 30 miles an hour, and they got up as soon as I got out of the truck, and they're still there. They're not spooked, but they were bedded, and they got up and just kind of, you know, they were like, ah. Just interesting how good of eyes they have, and just how keyed in they are to everything. We're gonna keep moving. Gonna walk up this hill here. Came around the corner. There's a deer in the road and it ran up on the hill. Just gonna walk up. Just gonna walk up here. See if it's up here still. Hard to say how, far it went. Might have crossed back over too. They don't want to come any closer. They're probably about 60 yards out. Pretty cool. She doesn't want to come in, which I don't blame her. But there's two of them. I thought there was only one. There's two. We were able to find them. Yeah, when I came around the corner, there was a deer right in the road. And, as soon as I pulled in, it jumped. That deer just ran up on the hill. So I was like, well, I'll come up. And I had to drive quite a ways up and pull off because there was no pull out right there. And it just happened to be like this nice little walk right up to kind of where they were. And then just give the old hooty hoot, I'm over here, and get them to show themselves. They don't always do that, but it is a good way. Like, even if you're hunting, when you're hunting, if you're like, I don't recommend like that to be your first go-to when you're hunting, is to blow a call. But if you've glassed something and really spent a good amount of time looking and you haven't seen anything, if you want to just get something to move, sometimes they come in, but they also can just run. Like, I've blown on this and they just run away. So you got to kind of pick and choose. If there's something down there, it'll either jump up and come to you or jump up and run away. So you'll at least see something. Or know that, hey, there's really nothing in there. All right, guys, there's another deer just driving down the road. That's crazy, guys. That deer is just standing right on the edge of the road. We've just left those deer. We just saw probably, man, I maybe only drove up the road another 200 yards and come around a corner. This deer's standing on the road. It's about to cross the road. Look at it run down the road. There she goes. Tell you what, it really is confidence. Like, just to know that there's deer in the area. Last year when I hunted this area, I didn't have enough time to really put the time in to scout. And so when it came to deer season and whatnot, I was questioning like the areas, and instead of like being confident in the fact that there were deer in the area and just sticking to it, I kept thinking, oh, I gotta go to this side, or no, I need to go over here or over here. I was like trying all these things where I should have just stayed where right in here. Come over here and glass this section over here. It's a good glassing point. This is only our second glassing point we've got to today. Mainly, it's taking a while to get over here. I could do without the wind, I'll tell you that much. It is ripping. I mean, it's almost, I kind of need to go put a jacket on. Alright, let's find an animal. Got my handy dandy chair. Got my chair. I'm gonna sit here. Glass these hillsides over here. Oh, look at this bird. Look at that. Oh, we got a glimpse of the bird. That's a pretty bird. That was like a really pretty blue bird. I've never seen that bird before. Oh, is that a deer right there? What the heck is that? It is a deer. There's a deer right there, guys. Check this out. Buck. That's cool. Found a buck. Look at that, guys. All I did is just look over there, looking at the bird. And I just look over, I see this orange. The thing about deer this time of year is they're like super orange. Like, they pretty much stick out. It's a great time to scout because they stick out really well, especially when everything is pretty green. You just look for these orange little dots, and I mean, that deer is 300 yards, 400 yards, 320, and I was able to see him. I mean, all I saw was the orange, so I was like, oh, that looks like a deer. Sure enough, and it's a buck, so that's cool. So what does that make for us? 5 deer now? 5 deer, 1 buck? That one looks like he might turn into a 2-point. If not, he's gonna be like a spike, a tall spike. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's get to glass, and we're gonna get to glass. Is that a deer down there too? Not a deer. Log. All right, well, just glassed up a doe. The buck, they're only like, the buck's, it's in the same clear cut as the buck. The buck is probably 100 yards to the right, and the doe is like 100 yards to the left. Doe's right there behind that log, or that behind that stump, and the buck, if we pan over here, it's right there. Makes our deer total is now 6 deer now, and we've just been glassing for a minute, so I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty jacked up right now. Oh, there's another deer. Hold on. I just saw another deer walk behind that buck. There you go, right there. That one's a doe. So it's a buck and a doe, but it's another deer that just popped out. That makes 7 deer now for us today. That's just confidence. Like where last year when I was in this unit, I was trying to figure the unit out. I was just trying to learn roads and things like that. And I wanted to find deer, but I really just needed to learn how to even get around in the unit. And so I didn't get a ton of time to try and figure out where the deer were. And so I was trying to do that during hunting season, which was tough. So this year, coming into it, I already know the roads. Now I'm going to find out where the deer are. All right, we just found 2 more. Well, over here, you got a deer right there. 1 and 2. That one, the one that's up top, I can't tell what it is. Sorry, and I'm also, the wind is blowing very hard, so it's hard to hold this camera still. Here's the thing. There might be a doe, and you might say, well, you need to shoot a buck, right, or whatever. The thing is, though, is when hunting season comes around, when it gets closer to the rut, you want to hunt where the does are. So finding does, like finding bucks is cool, because I know there's a buck in the area. But finding does, when it comes to the rut, that's where I want to be hunting anyway. I want to be hunting around the does, because the bucks are going to be with the does as the rut comes closer and closer. That puts our deer total to 9. Let's keep looking. Let's find some more. Man, I might have found the mother lode spot. I just found an elk. Same hillside that the deer are on, there's an elk. From what I can tell, it's just a lone cow, but yeah, I don't see any other elk with it. But we are finding animals, guys. The animals are out tonight, which is really cool. It's fun to be out here when the animals are out. All right, just found deer number 10. Where I was just getting ready to move to glass this like straight back behind me, behind where the truck is, and I look over like one ridge past where the buck was and the other 2 does. I look one ridge past, and I see a little orange dot, and I'm like, "What is that?" Deer. So that makes 10 deer. We got 10 deer so far today. It's only like, it's 6 o'clock right now, so it's 6 o'clock. It gets dark at 9. We still have like 3 hours to look around. I don't know if I'll stay till 9, but I'll probably be here for at least another hour or 2, and we're already at 10 deer and like 10 elk. Oh, really, really cool. Really fun. Now I am gonna pick up. We're gonna just go glass this hill back over there. That one. Glass that real quick, and then we're gonna move to a new spot. Guys, I just walked over to the other side. There's a deer right below me. Can't tell what it is. I'm gonna see if it's a buck. Oh, it's a spike. Yep, it's a little spike. He's looking at something. He's looking away from me. He's 135 yards. I just walked over the edge. When we first pulled up here, I walked over to this edge and looked down there. And he must have been bedded down there, and I just overlooked him. Well, I never looked like right where he is. Where he is, I didn't look right there. I was looking at the tree line and stuff when I came over and gave it a quick once-over. 11 deer. Wow. Probably another one down there. It's looking up at us. Spike's walking, but then I look up here. There's a doe right there. He's not spooked. He knows I'm here. But he's just kind of walking off. 12 deer now. Alright, so we're driving to the next spot. That spot produced really, really well. 8 deer in that spot alone. We're up to 12 deer in total today. And I think we're at like 10 or 11 elk. I'm not exactly sure how many elk were in the first group of elk we saw. I know there was like 8 or 9. There might have been 10 of them. We're somewhere in that 10, 11 range for elk. But I know we got 12 deer. And 3 bucks actually. One of the deer that we spotted way on the other side of the canyon, I thought both were does. One of them ended up being a small spike as well. So hoping to see one really nice buck, like a shooter buck, just so I can get it. Like, I know they're in the area, but just to have them, just to actually put my eyes on one to say, okay, this area, this hillside, I need to really hunt during hunting season would be great. There's a buck right there, guys. That one's gonna be a 2-point. And then there's another deer right here. Two more deer. That one is not happy, but this buck is just chilling. That one's definitely gonna be like a little 2-point. Well, that makes 14 deer, and I think so. He makes the 4th buck. 14 deer and 4 bucks. Two have been that size. That small little 2-point looking size. There's another deer, guys. 15. Just drove up the road, just around the corner. As soon as I got the buck that we just saw is just on the other side of this hill. He went where that stump is. Just went over the hill. The buck's on the other side. So we just drove up the road a little bit, and as soon as I got to this side where I could see this, that deer was running across the top of this. Barely got a glimpse of it. By the time the camera turned on and everything, it was already pretty far down there. Cool. 15 deer. Deer number 16. 16th deer for us today, guys. Nice deer here. Here's a tip for you guys when you're scouting. You might pull up a spot glass and not see an animal. You might not see an animal, but one thing to look for is like old rubs. Like this spot we just pulled up to, and I'm glassing down in this bottom over here, and I can see there's old buck rubs down there from last year. So that I just put a mental note in my head to say, oh, this spot, there was a buck in here during the rut. There was a buck cruising through here. He's not here now. I don't see any deer right now, but I see that rub. Mental note goes in. This is a good spot to check come November. So just a mental note. Well, on our way out, come around the corner, that deer's running. That deer was running in the clear cut. 17. Deer number 17. Well, guys, that's going to do it for our video. Ended up seeing 17 deer, 10, 11, maybe even 12 elk. I'm not really sure the number of elk because at first herd I don't know the total number exactly. I think it was 9 or 10, and we saw one later, so we'll call it 11 elk. 10 elk. Saw 10 or 11 elk, 17 deer. I think like 4 bucks. 4 of the deer were bucks. 2 of them were, I'm pretty sure, are going to be 2 points. The only thing we need to find now, really, is a big buck. We need a mature buck. We're still on the hunt to find that mature buck that I can be my target buck this year. Still haven't found a deer that I personally want to shoot or would want to shoot during hunting season, but we did find quite a bit of deer and saw a nice bit of elk. So hope you guys liked the video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with a friend. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll do it again. Guys, there's the buck right there. Look at that. There's a nice decent buck right there. And there's his buddy. I'd shoot that one. That's wild, guys. I just signed off, went to get in the truck, and I heard like crashing, and I turn around, look, right below me, there's deer. It's 2 nice bucks. Those are the bucks we were looking for. Those are shooters. I mean, it's still early June. You can see they're fairly wide. They're going to be nice 2, 3, maybe 4 points. Hard to tell. They got a lot of growing to do. They still got 2.5 months of growth to do. And those are two good looking bucks. That is crazy. I just shut the camera off. I just signed off, did the sign off. I put the camera in the truck, and I actually hopped in the truck, and I heard like branches breaking, and I looked down there and I see this deer just running along the ridge. That's crazy. Oh, that's awesome. Found some nice bucks. So that makes like 6 bucks today and 19 deer. Really cool. Great day. Thank you, God, for this day.